Welcome back, guys, and today we take a look at the most vile animals nature has to offer. Imagine being an animal so vile and wild, you not only traumatized a researcher, but everything he learned about you had to be hidden from the public for almost 100 years. That's what happened to researcher George Murray Levick. In the year 1911, he was on an expedition in Antarctica when he ran into a flock of wild Adélie penguins. It was the largest colony on Earth that he found, and since nobody had ever spent an entire breeding cycle with the Adélie penguins, George, being the researcher he was, thought, you know what, some good might come out of this. Oh, was he wrong. What George found out was that Adélie penguins are 50 shades of grotesque. He watched the males attempt to mate with literally anything, including but not limited to other males, injured females, and even unsupervised chicks. But what really traumatized George was watching the Adélie penguins mate with an expired female penguin, if you get what I'm hinting at here. But it gets stranger, because he witnessed one male get it going with an extra thick piece of snow, until completion, mind you. George quickly realized that if the Adélie penguins understood consent, they couldn't care less about it. George said he watched an injured female Adélie penguin, too injured to walk away, attempting to crawl away from two males, only for them to traumatize both her and George. For some odd reason, after witnessing that, George didn't think he had seen enough. So he set up an experiment where he took the head of a decapitated penguin and put it on a pile of snow, just to see how low the male Adélie penguins would go. The answer was low enough. Because, yeah, you could imagine what they did to the head plastered onto snow. George took all his findings and noted them down and stored them at the British Natural History Museum, who decided history is exactly what this study needs to be, because this doesn't need to see the light of day. So it was vaulted for 100 years when it was rediscovered in 2012. Oh, and just to ruin your childhood, the penguins of Madagascar? Yeah, Adélie penguins. Next up, we have the chimps, and I feel like most people either don't truly understand or really underestimate what these guys are capable of. And sure, they look cute and cuddly and all the videos of them doing smart things are real great, but these guys think about violence all the time. Take the story of a young zookeeper who was just starting out, and for her first set of responsibilities, she had to take care of the chimps at the zoo. One of the jobs was to take empty food bowls out of every chimp's cage in the morning, and the chimps, of course, were so smart that they would push the food bowls to the very edge of the cages to make the zookeeper's lives a bit easier. Well, a few days after starting, she noticed one of the chimp's bowls wasn't right up against the cage like normal, but a few feet back, so she would need to stick her arm in to reach it. Which she was about to do, until one of the older zookeepers screamed at her to stop and scolded her, telling her to never stick her hand in a cage like that, especially when working with chimps. The keeper told her to look into the cage, and so she crouched down to take a look, where she saw one of the bigger male chimps sitting just where you couldn't see him if you were standing up straight. Her stomach dropped as she realized had she not been stopped, she would have definitely lost her arm right then and there. The part that really freaked her out was that she said the chimp looked disappointed when she found out what he was trying to do. And to this day, she swears that the chimp knew she was new and was trying to take advantage of that in the worst possible way. The scariest thing about chimps is, no matter how smart you really think, they are smarter. And for this next animal, I apologize in advance, because now we're going to learn about the vile nature of the jacana. The jacana is the only bird which could fit a size 12 shoe size, meaning they can walk across floating vegetation, which is why they got the nickname Bird Jesus. But if you think the giant feet on a tiny bird was creepy, take a look at this. Makes your whole body itch, right? But let me explain. This is not some mecha anime type bird. That's actually just a jacana dad doing his single father duties. The jacana fathers build the nests, raise the kids, and feed them all by themselves. And you might think, this makes the jacana a great father. Yeah, about that. Because imagine this. You're a female jacana and you see a jacana dad doing an outstanding job taking care of his kids, so you think, yeah, I want this type of man. But then you realize you're a Jacana female and you actually want that man. Like that exact man right there with his kids under his wings. So you casually walk up to him, proceed to butcher his spawn in front of him, and after doing that, you do the next most logical thing and ask him out. And he does the next most logical thing and says yes. And that is the norm for Jacanas, because since the females are bigger, it's not unexpected for a Jacana male to start hooking up with the female that just a few minutes ago turned his kids into nuggets. See you next week, guys, and try to stay away from any of the above mentioned animals because it's probably just not worth your time.